On August 21st of 2022, I beat my first Extreme Demon in Napalm. Fast forward a few years into 2025, I have now completed a total of 45 Extreme Demons. In today's video, I'll be talking and ranking all of my Extreme Demons from worst to best. I'll be giving my overall rundown and opinion on every single level, along with a score that you'll be able to see as it goes along, off of a criteria that I've made. 60% of a level score is based off the gameplay, 30% of a level score is based off the decoration, and the last 10% of a level score is based off the music. Without further ado, let's just get into this list. It's going to be a long list, so get your popcorn ready, get your snacks, get your drinks, whatever suits you, and then make sure to enjoy the video. Starting off at the bottom at number 45, I present my worst experience I've had on any level ever. Molten Mercury is one of the harder extremes I've completed, but that would only add to the struggle to finish this off. I do think it has some interesting qualities with the decoration, but getting over 10 deaths at the ending with 5 of them being over 95% is just inexcusable. The gameplay is incredibly unbalanced, and when you add the difficulty to it as well, it just amplifies that unbalanced feeling so much more. Moving on, we have Mirage. While not being nowhere near as hard as Molten Mercury, this level brings its own nonsense beyond just the poor balancing. Mirage is by far the most buggiest and inconsistent Extreme Demon I've ever beaten, making it a real struggle and miserable experience to complete. I don't think the deco looks all that great, nothing terrible, but nothing to write home about either. I wanted to do this because it seemed fun to do, and man, I was completely wrong to assume such a thing. At least the song is good. Next at number 43, I present Septus, which is a lesser known Extreme Demon which resembles a Reverence clone, meaning it's a fast-paced flow level, with most of the difficulty coming from the waves alone. This level, in my opinion, is the pinnacle of that definition, and unlike Reverence, it frankly isn't all that enjoyable to play either. Every wave in the level gives its own version of bullshit that you must go through, and that can make it very frustrating very fast. The decoration is mediocre but not terrible for a glow level, I suppose. The song in the level is tolerable but not preferable, I would say. Probably a surprise for some of you, but I have Endless Dream at number 42. Most victors have had enjoyment playing this level, and I thought it would be for me as well, but long story short, I was just wrong. While I really like the aesthetics and vibe that this level brings, I cannot hide the fact that how awfully awkward the gameplay is. There wasn't any bugs with it, I just found it very weird to both learn and get consistent with. That made it a complete drag to get it finished, especially for its difficulty. Funnily enough, the only part that was really good that I liked was the duel, so there's that at least. Moving on to number 41, there is Azurite. This level is the exact definition of a mediocre level. Nothing offensive, but far from anything great. I also find it quite funny that this is an Extreme Demon, because after its update a while back, this level has turned completely free and way too easy for an Extreme Demon. It's definitely the easiest Extreme Demon I've done, and it for sure should be an Insane Demon in my opinion, but I don't think the difficulty will ever change. Which means that would make it a great choice for you to do for your first Extreme Demon, if we're just talking about the easiest options available. Probably my most unknown and forgettable completion, and rightfully so. Unknown Civilization is a solo level by Peng that at one point found myself interested in, leading to my completion. It's nothing incredible and pretty mediocre throughout. I do think the drop has some really cool effects along with the song at that part as well, but other than that, it's just not all that great. The gameplay is alright, I guess. There are a few questionable decisions on it throughout the level. This is probably the Extreme Demon I regret beating the most, because I simply don't like it anymore. I wouldn't be shocked if this was another surprise for you guys, but my take on Aku has been the same from when it's released all the way up to right now. It is incredibly mediocre. I believe it uses one of the worst Creo songs in my opinion, which is incredibly hard to do for me because I love Creo, frankly. The decoration, while good for its time, is a style that I'm not really interested in. I don't mind Modern as a whole, but not particularly the style Aku presents. The gameplay is fine, just a bit annoying after playing for a while, as a result from the other variables I just listed. Crowd Control goes here at number 38. I originally beat this Extreme Demon for a group project with a group as some of y'all know as the TCC, and if I'm being honest, there isn't anything offensive about this level at all. Although it is pretty uninteresting to me when it comes to the decoration and even the song. The gameplay, I will say, can be a bit satisfying to do, but with that there are a few annoyances from the balancing decisions that definitely needs to be taken note of. Overall, not the worst of extremes, but far from anything I would remotely recommend. Next at number 37, we have Dismay by Ewop and Company. My good old buddy Jedwint suggested me this level a long while ago, and while I didn't beat it instantly, I managed to get back to it. This level is alright, I'll put it as that. Even though it's far down on my list of extremes, I do think this is a step ahead of the ones that I've already mentioned. The gameplay is a bit jank and unbalanced in some parts, but still can be enjoyable. The decoration, for what it's worth, isn't all that great either, so you can really start to see why this is down here. Definitely the best looking level I've covered so far, but too bad it's incredibly ruined by my poor experience with it. Despite being a beginner Extreme Demon, this was a real struggle for me to finish in a reasonable amount of time. My poor experiences mainly stems from the fact that this level is extremely unbalanced and flat out inconsistent sometimes. It's got cool gimmicks, amazing decoration and effects, but the gameplay is leaving a lot left to be desired, strictly from the balancing standpoint. This Extreme Demon could have been just so much more. Broken Signal was amongst one of my first Extreme Demons, and besides Accu, it was the first one that I genuinely disliked to play. Which is a shame, because the level has a beautiful concept and executes it phenomenally, and as a result, it's one of the more iconic modern day Extreme Demons in the game. The gameplay, long story short, just isn't for me. Something about it just felt off at the time I beat it. I think it has something to do with the bouncing in some areas, along with constantly having frustrating deaths. Another level I wish I enjoyed more, but you can't win them all. This newer Extreme Demon shows a lot of interesting qualities, seemingly to be a mesh of other Extreme Demons like Falcon 16 and hopping over puddles. Quality-wise, this level was pretty good, and for sure refreshing to see, although I didn't have the greatest time playing this. My experience was subpar, with a decent amount of ending deaths despite the level being a much easier level. I also believe that the timing skill set is just really not my personification, just not for me. Unearthed is for sure the oldest Extreme Demon I've completed, which is pretty self-evident just by how it looks. I decided to beat this because I already had beaten its bigger brother in Disentombed at the time, so I thought to give this level a try. As a result, it wasn't too bad. It has its charm, and it made it a very surprisingly fun experience for myself. The gameplay does have its flaws, no doubt about it, but the base gameplay is actually pretty fun, and all the harder parts do get consistent, so there's that at least. At number 32, I have Anya 3. This is another unknown Extreme Demon that I decided to do a couple years ago, and it was an average experience all around, I suppose. The skill set is timing, so while it starts on a more bad note for me already, I did find this level consistent, so it saved it a little bit. The decoration is definitely the star on the show, I would say. It uses a modern style that resonates with me a lot more than Accu. Other than that, this level is quite mediocre in all departments. If you were to play it, you could have fun with it, but I wouldn't bet my money on it. Next, we have Meltdown by Darwin. I find this level very interesting. Despite this being an older Extreme Demon, the decoration has really held up to standards over the years, and to me still looks very impressive. Now, the big elephant in the room is the balancing. There is an obvious and incredibly tight ship section at the beginning of the drop. Not necessarily ideal, but it wasn't nearly as bad as I thought it would be when playing from zero. All the other parts are all fun and balanced well, I would say. We're getting definitely into the realm now of Extreme Demons that I distantly like. Obscura was once a list Extreme, but as soon as it got off the list, it was incredibly nerfed that made it into a beginner Extreme. So then I decided to beat it, and in all honesty, it's alright. Nothing crazy or spectacular, but it has some quality to it for sure. I think the song is very nice, and in some parts the decoration is impressive. This is also one of the easiest Extreme Demons in my opinion. This is currently my lowest attempt count on any Extreme Demon, even lower than my easiest completed Extreme Demon in Azerite, but I still think it's harder in my opinion. Hidden in the Sand is a very interesting level. While the grayscale look may not be all that impressive, it fits with the vibe of the song. The gameplay focus on this level is ship and timings, and it syncs incredibly well to the music, which is the reason why it's one of the most satisfying Extreme Demons I've completed. With that said though, there were a few timings throughout the level that never fully got consistent. Therefore, it doesn't rank too high on my list of extremes, though this level is solid, and if you like timing based levels, this could be the level for you. Moving on, we have Deflective, one of the 3 levels in Deflective series by Mijito's and Company, and this one was surprisingly decent. I originally beat this to improve with both wave and ship control, and my wish was granted because I became such a better player afterwards. I would say there is more wave difficulty than ship, so depending on the person you may or may not like it with that information. The decoration is pretty mediocre, but it's an older level and at least it isn't entirely ugly. It has some decent looking parts that kind of save it a little bit. At number 27, Goldcrest Palace makes its appearance. This level was quite disappointing, I must say. While obviously there are much worse Extreme Demons I've done, this level had the potential to be so much more. I think majority of the gameplay is solid and fun to play, though around the middle of the level there's a lot of movements and click patterns that are entirely awkward. I also want to point out that the 36% wave is unnecessarily difficult, creating wild inconsistency at that percentage alone. The deco is amazing and the song is great, though the gameplay wasn't as up to par. The OG. Napalm was the very first Extreme Demon that I've completed. I'm happy that it is. Even after all these years, I still find it to be a great Extreme. While not perfect, the gameplay is really fun in most areas. The synchronization from the gameplay to the music makes it a very satisfying experience to feel. The decoration and theming just adds on to it in a very positive way, showing real quality in the level. Now, since it was my first Extreme, it was a struggle at times to continue playing it, but I can assure you there are hundreds of worser Extreme Demons out there for you to do as your first Extreme Demon, so I recommend this one, guys. Shotgun is another beginner Extreme Demon, which, oddly enough, is very similar to Napalm. While you can make a great case that Napalm is more memorable or even better quality, I still think Shotgun does well for what it's trying to go for. I really like the intense song and atmosphere that it creates. The gameplay, despite being unbalanced on one wave in the level, it does get consistent with enough time. As a result, I beat this fairly quickly since it was consistent and below my skill level. I recommend this level for those starting Extreme Demons. Next, we have a colorful wonderland of duplication. This level is very interesting in all aspects. The decoration looks very nice despite there being a lot of different styles being blended in together. The gameplay is quite learny, I would say, from the visual clutter the level showcases, but with enough time it does come relatively simple and makes a very good Extreme Demon for those looking to beat a level with nice quality. While the song isn't what I'm looking for in a level, it's more than tolerable, so as a whole, this level is just incredibly solid. Anahita is a level that I didn't like much of when I first saw it, but rapidly grew on me over time. By no means is it a decoration masterpiece, but the level has good quality throughout, better than most people give it credit for. Though I think the star of the level is the gameplay. I know a lot of people who shit on its gameplay, and it never ceases to amaze me on how wrong they are in my opinion. While it has all game modes, I see it primarily focusing on ship control and timings, which was a powerful and surprisingly fun duo of a skill set that is very enjoyable to play. The level is balanced and the song is wildly underrated. It's an actual banger. At number 22, we have my personal hardest in damage control. This level is extremely solid and enjoyable. It's not perfect though, but it wasn't a miracle experience at all, especially for its difficulty. For a hardest, it wasn't that bad of an experience. It was a relatively smooth experience. I believe it's like that as a result of how consistent the gameplay can get. Even the few annoyances linger and do somewhat get consistent, which covers up a lot of the unenjoyment. The song is also incredible, a GD classic. The decoration is very unique and ends up looking very nice and clean. I 1000% recommend this level as a hardest, as it covers pretty much every main skill set for you to improve at the game, while still creating a nice and enjoyable experience. Disentuned was also a hardest of mine back in late 2022, and is another great level for those looking to improve their nerve control on extremes. With it being almost 4 minutes long, it has incredible cohesion amongst parts from a visual standpoint and a gameplay standpoint. I find the gameplay to be quite intriguing to play. Most importantly, it is consistent, which is quite impressive because of its wild length. Jacob Nugget took great care of this level as a sequel to Unearthed, giving it a couple updates to help the balancing to make it a better experience for all players. As a result, I think it's one of the best XL Extreme Demons in the game, hands down. One of the very few 2.2 Extreme Demons that I've done. Voluto is here at number 20. Unlike Lotus, I found this level to be a lot more forgiving on the choke points that made it a much more enjoyable experience for me to play. While I don't think it looks as good as Lotus, it still has extremely impressive decoration and has great uses of the 2.2 effects. The song is also very good to me as well. It's kind of what I'm looking for in a GD level. I would continue, but there really isn't much more for me to say other than the fact that it's a fantastic level. So, moving on. Cenobite by Jenkins is probably the best aged Extreme Demon in the game, and it may not be even close. This level is incredibly original, unique, you name it. It's aged like fine wine, man. It came out a long time ago and looks better than most things that came out today. What's even better is that the gameplay is incredibly fun to play. Though I do think the second half does have some issues with the gameplay, the first half is about the best you can get from a beginner Extreme Demon when it comes to gameplay. It is a bit laggy to run though in some parts. It isn't optimized at best, though the LDM does more than enough job to make it playable while still looking great for those who don't have a good enough PC to run the full decoration. I might get a lot of hate for this placement, but I'll stick to my opinion. Azure Fiesta is fucking fantastic. I understand that it's a Dorami verification. I understand that it can be annoying for some of you to play. I understand that it may have questionable gameplay decisions. But at the end of the day, I found this level extremely fun and charming to play. From start to finish, I think the decoration is very interesting, even despite the quality cohesion being a bit off. It has an incredible charm that I cannot describe. The base gameplay is just so fun to do, and even though there are balancing issues to it, it never shook me, not once, never got me angry or flustered. The song is also nice too, to top it off. I know this level isn't great by any means, but it blew my socks off in expectations, and I think it definitely deserves a shot from a lot of you, especially if it's below your skill level. Next, we have a drug named Ecstasy. Just kidding. While it isn't a drug, it still replicates some side effects of what taking ecstasy would look like, with its over-the-top effects. For most people, it hurts their eyes, so that's why they would either not like it or simply not play it, but it wasn't too bad for me. This was my biggest fluke on any extreme ever. I fluked this from 51%, which is a crazy progress fluke of 49%, but even more impressive that I did it on a much harder extreme demon. This level is tricky, no doubt, but after years of playing this game intensely, I finally got a fluke on something. The fluke definitely helped the enjoyment a lot, but I found the level to be quite fun to begin with anyway. Eternal is an underrated and excellent extreme demon. This actually was the first level ever I saw made by ImaxX1, and I'm happy I stumbled upon him because to me, I think he's one of the best creators in the game. Eternal is an extremely short, chaotic, and fast-paced level with some very intense parts that require quite a lot of learning and high amounts of CPS. The duel especially matches that description fairly well. As a result, this was a really fun extreme demon to complete. From first learning it to completing it, it was all fun to do. The decoration is quite simple and shows the early essence of the creator ImaxX1, looking clean yet fulfilling. The balancing of this level was great as well, making it high up on this list. Here is another incredibly fast-paced, effects-heavy extreme. Apex uses Rainbow and a unique approach to both block design and effects. I really do think that this level is one of the best looking extreme demons in the game despite being a bit older. The song representation with the gameplay and deco is probably the most impressive trait that this level has. It makes it such a satisfying extreme demon to play, and the way the colors, pulses, and gameplay match the beat is so impressive. My only gripe I have with it is that the wave in the 70s is quite harder than everything else to both learn and get consistent at. If that was balanced with everything else, this has a chance to be on the podium in the top 5. But still, great level nonetheless. Sigma Interface is a lot like Anahita. It is way overhated and incredibly underappreciated. A lot of people call it boring because of its calm nature, but that is the exact reason why I like it. Most of the levels that we've covered so far today have been all fast-paced and intense experiences. But with Sigma Interface, the calming experience you go through while playing this is so refreshing and it felt so nice for me to play. The song of the level really helps create that feeling as well. It's a really calming song. The gameplay is a lot more balanced than what people give it credit for. The decoration for being unfinished, quote unquote, is still really impressive to me. Just a great and underappreciated extreme demon overall. Next up is Hurricane, and honestly this level just gets it right. It's part of the Natural Disaster trilogy made by Binox, and in my opinion it's the best one out of there. I know Tornado gets a lot of attention, but Hurricane is the one that stuck with me. There's something about the way it flows. It's got a really strong gameplay foundation that never really felt frustrating or unfair. It never crossed into annoying territory for me despite having a really difficult ending. The decoration is clean, vibrant, and doesn't try to do too much while still doing a lot. And the song? It's honestly one of my favorite picks in any Extreme Demon. It ties the entire vibe together and gives the level that identity a lot of Extreme Demons struggle to find. Just a really well-made level overall. Reflective by Mijitos and more is a level that I have a lot of appreciation for. It's part of the Deflective trilogy, and while I think Deflective is alright, this one stands out as the much better level in my eyes. The gameplay here is a lot more intriguing and has a much more creative feel to it. It's quite learny, especially with the movement-based parts and transitions, but that kind of skill set was done super well in this level. The decoration is also a huge step up from Deflective. It's way more polished and has better color usage, and actually feels cohesive from start to finish. The song choice is absolutely incredible as well. It's one of those tracks that you just don't hear in other levels. It gives Reflective a unique identity and adds so much to the atmosphere. This level was my second Extreme Demon I've ever completed, and despite the learning curve, I had a blast grinding it. Chopstep by Gamix, ranked at number 11, is easily the most satisfying Extreme Demon I've ever completed. This is a solo level, which already makes it impressive, but what really makes it stand out is how well the gameplay and decoration sync up with the music. Every click feels purposeful, every transition lines up beautifully, and the entire level flows in a way that just clicks with you. It actually reminded me a lot of Apex, which I've already talked about because both levels do such an amazing job of representing the song visually and through gameplay. It's one of those experiences where everything just feels right. The only thing that holds it back into making it my top 5 is the final 25%, the last quarter. That part is noticeably harder than the rest of the level, and that type of balancing can be frustrating to finish off sometimes. Still, aside from that, this level is nearly perfect and was an absolute blast to play and grind. Breaking into the top 10, we've got 9 Blue by Sardina and more. This level is just great all around. It uses my favorite color combo, blue and pink, in such a clean and vibrant way that gives it a ton of visual personality. The gameplay is surprisingly fun throughout. Even though it's a bit front-loaded in difficulty, the first half has definitely more of a challenge, but it never felt unfair or frustrating. You can feel how much care went into making the gameplay flow well, and it makes the experience so much more enjoyable. The song is also one of my favorites in the entire game, and it helps tie the experience together so well. Honestly, this is one of my smoothest and most enjoyable Extreme Demons I've ever played, just an overall well-made level that nails both gameplay and aesthetics. Wild Arrows was a former hardest for me, and I only beat it very recently. This is another timing-based Extreme Demon, and it feels incredibly underappreciated. The gameplay is very challenging and genuinely fun once you get the rhythm of it. It demands precision, but not in a frustrating way. It's kind of the level that rewards consistency and flow. Though I think the effects are the most impressive. They are spectacular and honestly deserve way more credit than they get. The way the visuals complement the gameplay is super well done. My only gripe with the gameplay is that the beginning of the drop could be a little bit more balanced. It feels a bit too difficult, but once you get past that, threshold, it's smooth sailing. This is seriously a solid Extreme Demon that deserves way more recognition in my opinion. Hopping Over Puddles by J27 Blaze is one of the most unique Extreme Demons I've ever played. This is a solo level, and it stands out immediately with its incredible artsy and creative approach. There's nothing else quite like it in the entire game. The aesthetics are beautiful, but in a very minimal and intentional way. It doesn't rely on flashy effects or overwhelming detail, it just focuses on creating a calm, almost storybook atmosphere that really sticks with you. The gameplay leans heavily into the timing skill set, but it's done in such a fun and intriguing way that never feels cheap or frustrating. Every click matters and it all flows together so smoothly. It's one of those levels that leaves a lasting impression not because of how hard it is, but because of how different it is. Just a genuinely special Extreme Demon. Helios is an XL Mega Collab that really shines not in the decoration, but in the gameplay and song departments. It has the best song and gameplay of any level I've mentioned so far. The track is absolutely perfect for the level and it creates such an engaging atmosphere throughout. The gameplay is balanced from start to finish, with every section feeling fair and challenging in the best way possible. It's got that perfect flow where you feel like you're in control but still pushing yourself. The decoration, while having a nice color palette, is a bit on the more uninteresting side at times, which that's its only flaw. It doesn't distract from the gameplay, but it doesn't do too much to enhance it either. That said, Helios comfortably sits at number 7 on my list, and the gameplay is what truly makes it one of the more enjoyable Extreme Demons I've experienced. Clock Tower by The Purgatory is one of the few memory Extreme Demons I've tackled, but even then it's still pretty light on memory. What stands out the most is the decoration and theming. This level nails the ambiance of being inside a grand clock tower like no other. The attention to detail and the visuals really brings the atmosphere to life. As for difficulty, this is one of the easiest Extreme Demons I've done. It's almost borderline Insane Demon, I would say. The gameplay is smooth and enjoyable without being overly punishing. The song and sound effects fit the theme perfectly, making everything feel even more immersive. Honestly, this level has the best execution of the concept that I can imagine. It's the Purgatory's best product in my opinion. It's not only great for a beginner extreme, but for those who are looking to improve the memory skill set. It's relatively light and fun to work with. This Extreme Demon is so well rounded and expertly crafted. Niwa is a common glow flow level, but it's glow flow at its absolute peak. It's clearly inspired by the Reda levels, which you can feel throughout the design and gameplay, but this one was made up to be a lot easier and more accessible, and that makes it so much more fun. It takes that flowy, rhythmic skill set and presents it in a way that feels smooth, clean, and incredibly satisfying to play. The decoration is beautiful without being overwhelming, and the entire level just feels like it knows exactly what it's going for. On top of all of that, it uses my favorite song of any Extreme Demon I've done, which completely elevates the experience. This one comfortably sits in my top 5, and it's one of those levels that you can just enjoy every single time you can open it up. A really executed and polished glow Extreme Demon. Mystic Bounds by GMD Man is a solo level with absolutely stunning visuals that stretch across an insane 5-minute runtime. It's a beginner Extreme Demon, but because of how long it is, the gameplay ends up feeling more like borderline hard demon difficulty throughout. The real challenge comes down to consistency and nerve control. You're not dealing with anything too mechanically difficult, but maintaining your focus for that long without slipping is where the skill set truly lies. The intensity peaks constantly, and yet the level never feels stale. There's this really inspiring sense of progression as you move through it, both visually and in the way the gameplay evolves. It's a rare kind of level that pushes you more mentally than technically, and that alone just makes it stand out. A beautiful and intense experience from start to finish. This is 100% the best XL Extreme Demon in the game, there's no doubt in my mind on that. Heading into the top 3, we have Prismatic Haze, an older level that feels iconic in its own right. Out of every Extreme Demon I have beaten, this one has the most fun gameplay hands down. The decoration isn't anything crazy, but that's completely understandable considering the age of the level. And to be fair, it's far from ugly. In fact, it still holds up in its own way. What really makes this level shine is the gameplay. Like I said earlier, it's the pinnacle of what flow gameplay should be, right up there with Niwa. The level is packed with intense wave segments to keep you locked in, and it wraps up with a smooth, challenging ending that feels incredibly satisfying to pull off. It also uses what I would say the most iconic Creo song is, and it fits the gameplay so well that it elevates the experience even more. An incredibly fun level and well-designed level that absolutely earned a spot in my top 3. At number 2, we have Empyrean, a solo level by Kivi, who's quickly become one of my favorite creators in the game. Despite not being number 1, this is hands down my favorite looking Extreme Demon I've ever completed, and it's probably up there as one of the best looking levels in the entire game. The decoration style is unlike anything I've ever seen before, and I mean that in the best way possible. It uses a wide range of colors throughout, and the design genuinely looks like it was painted with a brush on a canvas. That's insane to say about a Geometry Dash level, considering everything is built on a grid. The transitions are super creative too, filled with stunning effects and constant color changes that never get old. The gameplay is also really solid. If I had to be picky, the beginning of the drop, while still fun, is slightly harder than the rest of the level, which creates a bit of a choke point, but it's nothing annoying or deal breaking. And the song? Absolute perfection. The intensity matches the gameplay so well, and even though it wasn't my type of track at first, it completely won me over. This is just a beautiful, polished, and incredibly unique extreme from start to finish. Absolute cinema. Finally, at number 1, we have Protoflicker by Ewop and more. This is the most iconic former artist I've ever had, and to me, this level is peak. It's exactly what I look for in my vision of a perfect Extreme Demon. It's a design level packed with sleek, stylish effects, paired with some of the most intriguing gameplay and song representation I've ever seen. The movement and transitions, the visual direction, everything about this level just feels so sick in the cleanest way possible. It finds beauty and simplicity without ever feeling lazy or complacent. Despite being a collab, the cohesion between every single part is incredibly well done. Nothing feels out of place. The transitions are smooth, the gameplay is balanced, and everything becomes consistent in a way that feels really satisfying to improve at. All these elements together make up what I consider a near perfect Extreme Demon, and I'm genuinely proud to call this my one and only favorite. This is what a top tier Geometry Dash level looks like to me. And that wraps up all my Extreme Demons ranked from worst to best. And it really made me reflect while I was making this, how far I've came along in this game. I've always had the goal whenever I first played to beat an Extreme Demon and be amongst the best, right, and play the hardest things. And now we have 45 of them completed. I've improved quite a lot, and it's been real fun. Thanks a ton for watching. This video took forever to make, and if you've enjoyed, feel like to hit the like button down below along with hitting the subscribe button to join. We're on our way to 3,000 subscribers. I've got more content on the way, so stick around and stay safe, guys, and see y'all later.